She just wants to be around wherever I happen to be. So, during the month of August, we have been spending time talking about stories. And our stories are how God is writing in our lives. Some would say it's His story or history. It's how God is operating in the lives of people. Some people are more aware of it than others, but God is active in our world. And that is the picture that we get from Scripture. So as I've thought about Scriptures each and every week, well, hello there, Willow. One of the things I've thought about is how God is involved in our stories. And, okay, go away. Honey, go away. Get down. Go away. Go away, please. Come here. Lay down here. Lay down. No, lay down here. Lay down. So as I thought about stories from the Old Testament where God is involved, one of the stories that comes to mind is the story of Esther and Mordecai. You remember that Queen Esther became the queen when Vashti no longer pleased Xerxes. And during that process, there was a situation that came up where the Jews were in danger. And Esther was put in the place where she had to either step in and take a risk and share who she was and what was going on in her story, or she needed to walk a different direction, and then her people were going to be in jeopardy. And you can read all about it in Esther chapter, well, the book of Esther, and the chapter that I'm going to look at just a little bit today is chapter 4. And this is where Mordecai hears about the plot that Haman is plotting against the Jews. And he goes and he puts on sackcloth and ashes, and then Esther hears about this, but she doesn't seem to know anything. Her story has been insulated from all these troubles. And he tells her that maybe she has been placed where she is for such a time as this. That perhaps God has written in her story in such a way that He has positioned her so that she can use her influence for God's kingdom good. In this particular part, it's about how she could use her influence to save her Jewish people. And the story goes on in chapter 4. Mordecai is reporting back through Esther's helper who went and talked to him. And he sends back this message: "Do not think, Esther, that you, because you're in the king's house, that you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from some other place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows, but that you have come to royal position for such a time as this." Who knows? But perhaps your story has been written so that you would be at this time in this place so you could do this thing. How amazing is it that perhaps God has put you exactly where He wants you so that in your story you can talk about His grace and His mercy and His love and His justice and His truth. Who's to say that God hasn't put you exactly where He wants you in your neighborhood, in your school, in your business, in your retirement? Who's to say that God, in His wisdom, hasn't put you exactly where you're supposed to be? And that your story isn't just your story? I don't know. I wonder if there's more going on than meets the eye. So often, that's the way God does it. There's always more going on than what we can see or observe. Well, that's what makes God such a beautiful and powerful and personal person. That He's with us in our journey, and there's always more going on than meets the eye. So what's He doing in your story today? What has He prepared for you to do? Now, Queen Esther, she had to take a little risk because when she went in to see Xerxes, there was a question, would she be put to death? You know, as we share our stories, there's always a little risk to it. Especially if we talk about Jesus. But sometimes the risk is really worth it. Well, take some time and read Esther There are only 6, 7, 10 chapters in Esther. You can read it in an hour. It's a fascinating story of how God is writing in the lives of people, even in your life and mine. Come on Sunday, and we're going to hear 3 more stories. Come on Saturday if you want some produce. This is Pastor Dan with First Lines Church in Raleigh, North Carolina. First Lines Church is a great place to be.